If you find yourself regularly grabbing meals from these 6 popular chains, you may want to hit pause on your order. It might be better to watch this video before taking another bite of those fries, because after learning what's really going on behind the scenes, your appetite could vanish faster than a half-off lunch deal during a weekend rush. Let's kick things off with the crowd pleaser. Applebee's, a restaurant where the microwave might just be working overtime. According to several former employees, as much as 90% of the food served here is frozen, pre-made, and vacuum-packed before it even arrives at the kitchen. That sizzling fajita platter, it's not fresh off the grill, it's a carefully staged show of steam and reheated meat from plastic bags. One ex-manager even claimed that the only items truly made in-house are the eggs and baked potatoes, and sometimes even those show up halfway cooked and plastic wrapped. There was one photo posted online by a disappointed customer that made the rounds, a so-called steak from Applebee's looking more like a pale pancake that had given up hope. One commenter joked, "That thing looks like it forgot how to grill," while another chimed in with, "Is this a steak or a damp bath mat?" But the sad visuals aren't the worst part. Internal temperature records from multiple Applebee's branches revealed meats sitting around at over 50 degrees Fahrenheit in prep areas, basically a playground for bacteria. Applebee's may attract crowds with its budget-friendly happy hour, but you might want to be cautious about what's really in your glass. Former bartenders have claimed that those vibrant cocktails are made using the lowest-tier liquor the bar could stock bottom shelf in every sense. One server quipped that the top shelf was just a place to store Windex. Those mega-sized blue Long Islands, they might clean your gut out faster than impressing your date. On the plus side, if the food leaves a bad impression, maybe the neon margaritas will help you forget it. Now, let's move along to Subway, the sandwich chain that proudly promotes fresh, but often delivers, well, something else entirely. The tuna controversy made national headlines after lab tests in 2021 couldn't find any verifiable tuna DNA in the samples. That's like biting into a PB&J and discovering there's neither peanut nor jelly, just sticky mystery goo. Former Subway staff have spilled the mayo, too literally and figuratively. Tales abound of meat tubs with their expiration labels scraped off and new dates slapped on. One worker posted a photo of a chicken container labeled "Do not use after Tuesday," only to have a new day scribbled in. Another customer once peeled back their sandwich to find a slice of translucent meat that looked more like a damp napkin than poultry. Reviews called it rubbery, spongy, and not of this world. Even the veggies can't save the meal. A viral photo from a New Jersey store showed wilted lettuce, browning tomatoes, and cucumbers that seemed soaked in janitor bucket water. Health reports from multiple locations have highlighted problems like poor refrigeration, pest sightings, and unclean food handling. One inspector said they watched an employee wipe down a counter with a rag, then immediately used the same rag to clean lettuce. That's not just gross, it's a direct route to salad sabotage. And let's talk about the bread. In Ireland, Subway sandwich rolls were legally ruled too sugary to even be classified as bread. They actually contain more sugar proportion than some donuts. So while that turkey sub might sound healthy, it's essentially frosting with deli meat. Even their signature toasting process gets roasted. One customer showed a before and after picture of their bread, toasted so unevenly it looked like it passed out halfway through a tanning session. Still, Subway holds the title of the world's largest fast food chain, not because it's the tastiest or cleanest, but because it's everywhere. But let's not confuse everywhere with edible. So the next time you're reaching for a $5 foot long, just remember, what you save in cash, you might pay for in regret. Now, let's shift gears to a chain that's practically a rite of passage for late-night cravings, budget bites, and questionable decisions: Taco Bell. From Crunch Wraps to Nachos Belgrande, it's the fast food destination where the food is bold, the prices are low, and the ingredients, well, let's just say they've seen better days. Behind the fun commercials and colorful menu boards lies a system that's more microwave magic than culinary craftsmanship. Former employees have lifted the veil on Taco Bell's kitchen, and what they revealed isn't exactly appetizing. From expired sour cream still being used to cheese that dries into a crusty layer in the prep bins, some locations treat freshness like a rumor rather than a standard. One particularly viral video from a past worker showed how Taco Bell prepares its beans. It doesn't start with soaking or simmering, no. It begins with a bag of powdered substance that gets dumped into a container of hot water. After some stirring, the contents swell into a mush that vaguely resembles refried beans, at least if you squint. A commenter nailed it when they said, "I thought I was eating fiber. Turns out it was cement with seasoning." The ground beef isn't much better. Taco Bell proudly advertises seasoned beef, but that mix is only about 88% actual meat. The rest, fillers like soy, oats, anti-caking agents, and even silicon dioxide, yes, the same compound used in products like glass and sand. If you've ever thought the meat had an oddly gritty or slightly sweet taste, you weren't imagining it. One food reviewer described it as beef that forgot it was supposed to taste like beef. While the brand stands by the safety of its ingredients, the issue isn't always the raw material, it's how they're handled. Former employees have spoken out about skipping food temperature checks during peak hours to avoid long lines. In some cases, cheese, beef, and sour cream would sit in warmers or cold wells far past the safe temperature range. Translation: that taco you're enjoying at midnight may have spent the last 2 hours chilling just enough to let bacteria throw a party. And let's not forget the ice machines, which might be the most overlooked threat in the building. Several undercover investigations have found mold, slime, and even insect activity lurking inside the soda fountains and ice bins. One inspector noted that the inside of the ice machine at a Taco Bell location was dirtier than the restroom sink. So if you're sipping a Baja Blast, you might be getting more blast than you bargained for. Presentation isn't Taco Bell's strong suit either. One customer shared a photo of their taco which looked like it had lost a fight, crushed shell, barely 2 teaspoons of filling, and shredded lettuce clinging to life. The internet has always had a field day. That taco looks like it needs therapy, wrote one commenter. Another posted, blink twice if you're in danger. But jokes aside, the real danger lies in the food safety practices or lack thereof. Poor handling, minimal training, and the pressure to churn out meals quickly all combine to create a high-risk kitchen environment. Yet Taco Bell's remains one of the most visited in the fast food world. Why? Because it's engineered to hit all the cravings. Salty, crunchy, cheesy, and creamy, all at a price that barely dents your wallet. Unfortunately, what also gets dented is food quality and sometimes your stomach lining. One former kitchen staffer admitted that sometimes they wouldn't even eat the food themselves, joking that, if it's a mystery to me, I'm not solving it with my mouth. That may sound dramatic, but it's a cautionary tale wrapped in a tortilla. At Taco Bell, the marketing might say live mass, but your digestive system might be whispering, please no mass. Before you indulge in that cheesy gordita crunch, ask yourself, do you want dinner or a dare? Now let's jump from fall Mexican fare to a chain that's wrapped itself in the warm embrace of comfort food and family-style dining. Welcome to Olive Garden, where the breadsticks never end and unfortunately, neither do the sanitation issues. Olive Garden markets itself as your neighborhood Italian escape, but if you're imagining fresh pasta bubbling on the stove or sauces simmering for hours, dial it back. Way back. Most of the pasta dishes here begin their journey frozen, bagged, and ready to boil. That creamy Alfredo sauce you love. It doesn't come from a pot, it's squirted out of plastic bags, industrially prepared and reheated in batches. It's more chemistry than cooking. Several ex-employees have admitted that the Olive Garden kitchen operates more like a food assembly line than a restaurant. One viral post from a former server read, "You're not ordering a meal. You're activating a preloaded microwave experience with a server wearing black slacks." And it's not an exaggeration. A customer once filmed their lasagna wiggling like jello as they shook the plate. The cheese had melted into a strange plastic-like sheen, while the sauce sat in a gelatinous clump that looked more like tomato blue than marinara. The famous salad? Don't let the fresh ad campaigns fool you. That unlimited bowl is often filled with pre-chopped lettuce that's been sitting in bins for hours, sometimes more. The tomatoes can be mushy, the cucumbers shriveled, and as for the olives, one former prep cook confessed that they're soaked in a preservative so strong it made their hands go numb after just a few trays. That zing you're tasting might not be the dressing, it might be the chemical bath. But what really sets off alarm bells is the cleanliness behind the scenes. Health inspection reports from various Olive Garden locations have highlighted repeated violations: improper food storage, dirty cooking utensils, and in one memorable case, insect activity discovered inside a bin of uncooked pasta. And no, that's not a crunchy topping, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. One of the more viral stories involved a customer who posted a picture of their fettuccine with a short black hair curl around the noodles. The caption read, "Tell me this is Italian seasoning, please." That image traveled faster than Olive Garden could issue a statement and did more damage than a cold breadstick. Speaking of breadsticks, even those have a dark side. While they're touted as freshly baked, they often come from frozen dough that's thawed, brushed with butter-flavored oil, and tossed into a warmer until someone places an order. If they sit too long, they can become rock hard, chewy, or stale, and you better believe some locations serve them anyway. Another point of concern: towel use. According to former kitchen workers, it's not uncommon for the same towel to be used for wiping down counters, drying dishes, and occasionally cleaning spills on the floor. One dishwasher described the back-of-house cleaning routine as hope, steam, and bleach fumes. There's no way to make that sound appetizing. Turnover rates are also a big factor. With many locations hiring staff quickly and training them minimally, it's not rare for a brand new hire to be plating shrimp scampi just a few hours after orientation. One ex-employee said they learn more from trial and error than from training, which sounds like a risky way to handle food safety, especially when allergens, cross-contamination, and undercooked ingredients are on the line. And about that authentic Italian heritage the chain clings to well, most of the recipes are pulled straight from a corporate database. There's no Nonna in the kitchen unless Nonna lives in a spreadsheet. Even the much-advertised tour of Italy sampler has less to do with a European getaway and more to do with a conveyor belt of pre-prepared, frozen portions reheated for your convenience. Worse yet, prices have crept up while quality has stayed stubbornly mediocre. You're not paying more for better ingredients, you're paying for decor that mimics Tuscany and a playlist of fa Italian mandolin music. The ambience might be charming, but charm doesn't cook pasta. And charm certainly doesn't prevent foodborne illness. It's worth noting that even the dishwashing and storage standards vary drastically between locations. At some spots, utensils are left soaking in stagnant water before being reused. One incident in California involved a salad spinner that hadn't been cleaned in 3 days and was being used anyway. It was reportedly caked with old lettuce, dressing, and mystery bits. That's not just gross. That's negligence. Yet somehow, Olive Garden continues to draw crowds largely thanks to nostalgia, familiarity, and all-you-can-eat gimmicks. But if you peel back the layers of corporate branding, you'll find an operation more interested in mass production than Italian tradition. So the next time someone says, "Let's go to Olive Garden for some real pasta," you might want to gently suggest a different spot, or at least bring your own hairnet, thermometer, and a bottle of hand sanitizer. Now, let's talk about a chain that once redefined fast food by branding itself as clean, sustainable, and boldly fresh: Chipotle. Known for burritos the size of your forearm and that addictively creamy guac, it might seem like the healthier option in a sea of greasy drive-thrus. But if you look beyond the warm rice bowls and rustic decor, there's a not-so-fresh truth lurking beneath the foil. In the past 10 years, Chipotle has become almost as well known for foodborne illness outbreaks as it has for its barbecue. Norovirus, Salmonella, E. coli. All served up with a smile, sometimes simultaneously. The reality is that Chipotle has had more high-profile outbreaks than any other fast casual chain, turning that extra scoop of pico into a potential public health hazard. So how did a company built on food with integrity become a buffet of bacterial headlines? It boils down to two things: high-pressure prep work and questionable sourcing. While Chipotle promotes daily fresh prep like it's a badge of honor, the execution doesn't always match the ideal. Multiple former employees have said the expectations are nearly impossible to meet. One worker revealed they had to dice tomatoes and onions while wearing gloves still smeared with guacamole. Another confessed to leaving hot rice in warmers so long that the top layer crusted over while the bottom turned soggy and lukewarm. That isn't just a texture problem, it's a bacteria playground. And about that guacamole. Yes, it's made fresh daily, but the sheer volume needed means it's often prepped in bulk, with bowls the size of mixing tubs. If the equipment isn't properly cleaned between batches, a single slip can spread contamination across hundreds of servings. One former prep cook shared that they once found old food caked into the blender blades used for salsa. The manager's advice: just rinse it. Nobody can see it under the tomatoes. That attitude isn't just lazy, it's dangerous. The lettuce might be the biggest risk of all. Chipotle insists on using raw, unbagged romaine, which sounds great on paper. But romaine lettuce has been linked to numerous national outbreaks. Unlike pre-washed and bagged varieties, raw romaine requires meticulous washing and careful storage, something that doesn't always happen when the lunch line is stretching out the door. In one infamous incident in 2018, nearly 700 people across several states got sick from contaminated lettuce served at Chipotle. A side salad shouldn't come with a side of regret. Temperature logs, supposedly the frontline defense against spoiled food, are also often neglected. Chipotle's internal policy is clear. Hot items must be held at 140 degrees Fahrenheit or above, cold items at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below. But former employees across multiple states have admitted that logs were often forged, ignored, or guessed. Why? Because there's pressure to keep the line moving. No one wants to delay a burrito for a thermometer reading. Speaking of burritos, let's talk nutrition. Many people assume that Chipotle offers a clean alternative to traditional fast food. But most customers don't realize how quickly calories add up. A typical fully loaded burrito can top 1,200 to 1,500 calories with more sodium than you should eat in an entire day. Add chips and guac, and even a gut bomb that rivals a fast food double cheeseburger meal with a shake. One manager once joked, "Our burritos are just edible denial. Most people would be better off eating 2 tacos and a nap." But the truth is, the image of freshness is what keeps Chipotle thriving. The wooden interiors, handwritten chalkboards, and visible kitchens all suggest transparency and quality. Yet behind that branding is a food system stretched to its limits, young, undertrained staff scrambling through endless prep, high employee turnover, and inconsistent safety practices. Let's not even talk about the bowls and lids that sometimes come out sticky, greasy, or stained from rushed service. One customer shared a picture of a bowl with smudges of black beans on the outside and rice crusted to the rim. The caption, "Guess I'm seasoning it with whoever made it." The real issue is trust. When a company markets itself as the healthier, more responsible option, customers expect more. But if you walk into a Chipotle at peak lunch hour, look past the assembly line, you might notice gloves being reused between tasks, food being stirred with fingers instead of utensils, or prep bowls stacked with old rice remnants. It's not just a marketing fail, it's a food safety one. Yet despite it all, Chipotle remains wildly popular. Why? It's fast, it's familiar, and it feels cleaner, even if the reality doesn't match the image. But feeling healthy isn't the same as being safe. Next time you unwrap that barbacoa bowl, ask yourself, are you eating a wholesome meal or playing burrito roulette? And now the final stop on this behind-the-scenes food tour. The undisputed heavyweight champion of fast food, McDonald's. It's more than a restaurant, it's a global icon. The Golden Arches can be seen from highways in over 100 countries, promising speed, satisfaction, and a sense of familiarity. But behind that comforting facade lies a history of shortcuts, questionable practices, and cleanliness concerns that would make you think twice before ordering that Big Mac. Let's start with the internet's favorite punching bag, the broken ice cream machine. At this point, it's not just a meme, it's a phenomenon. Entire websites exist just to track which McDonald's locations have working soft-serve machines. But the truth isn't just about broken parts. According to former employees, the machines require long, tedious cleaning cycles that take hours. Disassembling, sanitizing, and reassembling them is such a chore that many locations simply shut them down or pretend they're broken to avoid the hassle. One night shift worker once said, "It's either broken, fake broken, or a biohazard smoothie brewing inside." And speaking of consistency, McDonald's prides itself on the idea that a Big Mac in Los Angeles should taste exactly like one in Des Moines. But employees from across the country have shared photos of burger patties stored at the wrong temperatures, cheese sweating under heat lamps, and lettuce that looks like it was revived from cryogenic sleep. There's even now viral videos showing boxes of buns stored on the floor next to a mop bucket. That's not food safety, that's food roulette. Sanitation often gets sacrificed on the altar of speed. Multiple former employees have admitted that deep cleaning is frequently skipped, especially during a late shift. One ex-crew member from Florida said they were once told to serve fries from an oil vat that hadn't been changed in 3 days. The fries came out darker than usual and had a bitter aftertaste. Management's solution? Just throw some more salt on it. That's not seasoning, that's deception. Let's talk meat. McDonald's proudly claims its burgers are made from 100% beef, and that's technically true. But it doesn't mean it's high quality. The patties are formed from lower-grade cuts, processed and blended with additives to ensure uniform texture. They're flash-frozen and shipped out in bulk. Once at the restaurant, they're tossed on an automated grill with no room for care or correction. If they're undercooked, they go out anyway. If they're overdone, same story. One whistleblower posted a video showing undercooked burgers being scraped off the grill, microwaved for a few seconds, and served. Efficiency, yes. Food safety, not so much. Then there are the chicken nuggets, a staple of McDonald's childhood nostalgia. But many customers would be horrified to learn how they're made. A leaked video from a major supplier showed nugget slurry, a pink foamy mixture of ground meat, fillers, and additives being molded into nugget shapes, flash-frozen, and shipped in bulk. McDonald's claims it has improved the process since then, but workers still report that the nuggets arrive frozen and sometimes sit thawing too long before frying. A customer once bit into a nugget and found nothing inside, just air. Ironically, it might have been the healthiest thing served all day. And it's not just meat. Health inspections across the U.S. reveal frequent violations at McDonald's restaurants, from improper storage to unwashed hands. One Michigan inspector wrote that a worker handled raw beef, scratched their head, and then scooped fries, no gloves, no hand washing. That's not fast food, that's fast-tracked food poisoning. Let's not overlook the beverage machines either. Those fancy touchscreen soda dispensers. Behind those shiny panels, you'll often find syrup residue, mold, and tubes coated in sticky grime. One technician who services them admitted, "You'd be horrified if you saw what builds up back there. It's like a college dorm fridge mated with a swamp." The breakfast menu has its own issues. While McGriddles and Egg McMuffins have a loyal following, many don't realize that the eggs arrive pre-cooked in frozen puck form, and the pancakes are mass-produced off-site, shipped frozen and reheated. Syrup comes from industrial bags that sometimes leak and attract flies. That's not maple magic, that's a sweet health code violation. And what about the fries? Arguably McDonald's most iconic item. At the moment they cool, they become limp, chewy, and sad. One customer review nailed it. McDonald's fries go from perfect to punishment in 5 minutes flat. Still, millions eat there every day, not because it's great, but because it's convenient, familiar, and always open. And that's the most dangerous part. When food becomes routine, people stop asking questions. They stop noticing the burger that tastes a little too flat, the soda with a strange aftertaste, the fries that leave a film on your lips. But you should ask questions. Because what these chains offer in convenience, they often take back and cut corners that affect your health, your wallet, and your trust. So what's the final takeaway after peeling back the shiny wrappers and polished branding of these 6 massive restaurant chains? It's not that all fast food is evil, or that every meal out is a guaranteed trip to the ER. But the uncomfortable truth is that speed, savings, and scale almost always come at a cost, and that cost is often hidden in the fine print, behind the kitchen doors or deep within the freezer, where quality goes to hibernate. From Applebee's microwave-heavy meal kits to Subway's mysterious meat medleys, from Taco Bell's powder-to-plate approach to Olive Garden's cafeteria-style Italian illusions, from Chipotle's fresh but risky burrito bowls to McDonald's moldy machines and pink nugget paste, these aren't isolated incidents. These are patterns built on cutting corners, lowering standards, and prioritizing efficiency over integrity. It's easy to get lulled into a sense of comfort with chains like these. They're everywhere. They're predictable. They fit neatly into our schedules and budgets. But the more familiar they become, the more we stop noticing the warning signs. The congealed cheese, the lukewarm meat, the soggy bun, the strange aftertaste that's not just how it is. That's how it's allowed to be. And why is it allowed? Because most customers don't see what's happening behind the scenes. We trust the commercials. We assume someone else somewhere is making sure the food is clean, safe, and prepared with care. But as you've seen, that assumption doesn't always hold up under scrutiny. Restaurants like these thrive on volume and velocity. Meals aren't crafted, they're assembled. Ingredients aren't chosen, they're shipped, stored, and swapped for cheaper versions. Training is often rushed, cleaning skipped, and safety standards treated as flexible guidelines instead of non-negotiable rules. What makes it worse is the illusion of quality. Buzzwords like fresh, homemade, grilled, or artisan are printed all over menus, but behind the scenes, those words are rarely reflected in the actual preparation. You're eating reheated leftovers in a place that markets itself like a bistro. And look, we get it. Sometimes you just want a cheap burger, a quick bite, or something familiar at the end of a long day. But the goal of this isn't to make you feel bad for eating fast food. It's to help you see through the marketing, to ask questions, to raise your standards just a little. Because when millions of customers start demanding better, these chains have no choice but to listen. Public pressure works. We've seen it force companies to change recipes, reform food safety policies, and take accountability, but only after the spotlight was turned on. So maybe next time, before you order, ask yourself, is this food actually what I think it is? Do I trust how it was made? And do I really want to find out the hard way? The truth is, food should nourish you, not trick you. It should fill you up, not let you down. And it should come from a place that values more than just profit margins and speed. Because no amount of neon signs or limited time offers can mask what's really being served when care, cleanliness, and honesty are left off the menu. We're not here to scare you, we're here to inform you. Because restaurants might not tell you the whole story, but our channel will. If this gave you something to chew on, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still thinks microwave lasagna is gourmet cuisine. Thanks for watching, and remember, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's safe. Stay hungry for the truth, and we'll keep serving it.